Welcome to the boss guide for Melidrussa Chillworn in the Ruby Life Pools. This is a boss that has been nerfed a number of times since the start of the season, but still remains one of the toughest healing checks currently in the game. Mechanically, it's not too complex of a boss, but you'll be required to heal multiple different damage patterns in a row, while dealing with positioning problems at the same time. There's some good strategies that groups should know about to make fighting this boss much smoother, so let's take a look. For the first ability, Hail Bombs, it's a good idea to have the party grouped up close together, so that the bombs aren't spread out across the room. The bombs target players and then land after a couple seconds, and stepping into one will deal heavy damage, likely resulting in a death. See here after the Chill Storm, which we'll talk about in a second, the party gets displaced out of position, but knowing that Hail Bombs is the next ability cast, we quickly group up again to place them together. Having these spread out around the room makes the fight extremely difficult, so do your best to stack up and place them in an organized fashion. The next ability, Chill Storm, will target a non-tank player with a circle that will then place a damaging vortex on the ground after a few seconds. The Chill Storm vortex will suck players towards it and pulse AoE damage to the party before exploding at the end. Additionally, it will deal huge chunks of damage to anybody caught inside of the vortex itself. Note that the Chill Storm does not do fall-away damage, meaning that the damage is the same regardless of how far one is from the vortex, as long as they are not inside of the vortex. The moment of the Chill Storm explosion is the riskiest moment in the fight, so the healer should do their best to top the party beforehand. At 75%, the boss will cast Frost Overload. She will summon whelps from the side of the room and deal pulsing AoE damage until her shield is broken. It is important here for the DPS to burst down the shield quickly. Prioritize killing the shield over killing the whelps, which don't do anything dangerous. Tanks should also not move the boss to go pick up the whelps. Rather, the party should stand behind the boss and allow the whelps to come to them. It's probably a good idea to use a couple cooldowns here. A throughput cooldown and a defensive cooldown will help you get through this phase easily. There is a bit of tech here if you have a Prot Paladin. If they Avenger shield the boss at the exact right time, they can actually cancel the boss's Frost Overload phase. If you want more details on that, check out Quasi's video on YouTube. After the Frost Overload ends, it's back to the main phase. Keep in mind that throughout the fight, the tank will be hit by the boss's Frost Lance over and over. Tank damage is actually one of the main problems on this fight, so make sure you're prepared as both a tank and a healer for that. We've already talked about a good strategy to deal with the Hail Bombs. Let's talk about Chill Storm now, which is a major problem on this fight, especially for the healers. The person targeted with Chill Storm will want to distance themselves from the party, but a good thing to do as the healer here is to run the opposite direction as the person with the Chill Storm. That way, when the vortex begins, you won't have to move, and can focus on healing the party. Most classes have a movement ability that they can use to escape the vortex, but as the healer, keep in mind that should a player be ticked by the inner vortex, they will require triage healing to stay alive. If you are a DPS player and you know you don't have enough mobility to escape the initial tick of the vortex, then make sure you pop a defensive cooldown. At 45% health, the boss will cast Frost Overload again. This is the exact same as the first one, so make sure you have another set of cooldowns prepared. It's a good idea to use off-spec healing like Vampiric Embrace or Ancestral Guidance during this phase. As a healer, this is just one of those bosses where you're going to struggle to hang on and struggle to stay alive. I'm almost out of mana here, but we still have 30% health to go. Notice here how I'm pre-positioned towards the edge of the room in case I get the Chill Storm, as I know that it's the next ability coming. A more organized or practice group would know that I would want the Chill Storm target to run in the opposite direction of me so that I don't have to move during the vortex. Watch here how much more difficult it is to heal since I started so close to the Chill Storm vortex. It may seem like something small, but remembering to take the Chill Storm in the opposite direction of the healer will really help the healer out during this boss. For Shaman players in particular, you definitely want to be running the High Tide talent here for larger chain heals. Make sure you have a Cloudburst down before every Chill Storm and use it as needed to keep people alive. That means you may need to release it early. Additionally, keep Spirit Walker's Grace ready for when you get the Chill Storm yourself, or if you have an emergency moment that you need to move for. I like to use Ancestral Guidance early on in the fight, as the boss is usually longer than 2 minutes, and so it will be up towards the end. I also like to bring the Mote of Sanctification trinket from Halls of Valor, which releases a burst of healing onto the party. This is a boss where your success will mostly depend on the skill and ability of your healer. However, you can take the tricks and tips you learned in here to make the healer's life much easier during this fight. One last thing to note here, or rather a PSA from all your healers, is that the healer will certainly be drinking at the end of this boss, so try not to take the dragon they are closest to. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave a comment below. Good luck in your keystones, and thank you for watching.